from Egypt. The U.S. National Institute of Health has recently published a research that has revealed that people have become 25% more depressed ever since the coronavirus pandemic started, and in even some cases reach 50%. Due to being confined at their home, prevented from carrying on their usual social interactions due to the whole quarantine situation, for it does not allow them to get out there and do what they really want. These numbers did not sit well with me, for not only is our physical health in danger, but our emotional health is deteriorating in the process. So, I, Pixel Pink, have spent 72 hours, 2,136 blocks, and drank 12 cups of coffee to come up with a solution to overcome this pandemic. I would like to proudly present to you PINK, which is an acronym that stands for Probably an Interesting Normal Game. Yes, the K stands for game. Shocking, I know. This game encourages you, the protagonist, to stay active and stay up on your feet. For this stimulates your brain and forces it to release endorphins, which makes you happier. You're encouraged to do so by completing various mini games that you need to do in order to progress through the story. The game starts with you walking along the street, and then a piece of paper falls down. This awakens your internal environmental activist, and then you go to read what's written in there before you throw it out. Turns out it's a flyer that advertises for your favorite carnival. Guess what's name? Carnival Pink. You go there, and then you find that the coronavirus has taken over the carnival, which is utterly unacceptable. In order to get through the gate, you have to complete 10 jumping jacks, which can be detected through machine learning and AI, which I've also used in the other mini games. After doing the jumping jacks, the first mini games requires you to move your head left and right in order to catch fruit that's falling down on your basket. However, take care. If you catch coronavirus, you'll lose points. The second mini game requires you to move your hand and guide people who want to go to the toilet to the right stall. Guide boys into the boys' stall and girls into the girls' stall. And the third and final mini game, you need to draw in the air the various symbols in order to attack or defend yourself from the coronavirus. You need to defeat it in order to get out of the park. You can't let it take over your carnival. And also, it's a dangerous virus that needs to be defeated. Anyway, after you do that, you take over your carnival back and you live happily ever after. This game helps people have a more positive outlook on the world, for it makes them feel happier due to the various activities they need to do, as mentioned, and it allows them to be motivated. When they're motivated, they have higher chances in getting things done, and they may even have the brilliant idea on how to defeat the actual coronavirus, which cannot be done when you're sitting depressed and moped all around because you can't do anything. So get ready, get steady, because now we're going to Carnival Pink.
Hello, Pixel Pink here, and I'm gonna explain my code. Okay, so my coding relies heavily on variables and broadcasts. I specifically want to explain how I did the actual minigames, which utilize the AI features of Pictoblocks. Okay, so firstly, for the jumping jacks. The jumping jacks is done when the boy meets the security guard and he asks him to do some. The dialog box is the one responsible to check for such action. So it'll change the voice to speak, so you could say up, down, and using machine learning, I've supplied the computer with what should be passed on as going, and like the first half of the jumping jack, which is going up and then going down. You do so for 10 jumping jacks and then it'll be over to move on. There's still music to cheer you on while you do so. The second minigame that I like to touch on is the fruit minigame, in which you move your head left and right in order to make the basket catch fruit. The fruit here has lots of costumes, which are all inspired by Nintendo Animal Crossing. These costumes are, the first 5 are fruit and the second 3 are coronavirus. So here it gets to pick random between the costumes, switch costume to whatever it is, and then fall. Fall here is, since I realized that I use this mechanic a lot in this game, so I made it into my block to use it. So as long as you're not touching the frame or the edge or the border, which is like the little fruit at the bottom, then you should fall. If you do so, you should check what happened. You just move around, move left and right, but before you're not move left and right here, but here you can see how the fruit falls, and depending on its custom name, I could have used custom number, but I'm more acquainted with custom name since I've been programming Scratch since Scratch 1.5. We have the basket, the actual basket that moves with your nose. It detects your nose, see, go to X position of nose, and you go left and right to catch the fruit. The next game is the toilet game, which is more difficult. So here, it'll say the instructions. Since the bathroom stalls are on 2 sides of the screen, I've relied on the X position of the hand to tell with which stall you're going to. With a middle area, or like the safe zone that doesn't do anything, this you should put your hand back into this in order to continue the game. You do so until the points reach 10, and by check here, I mean checking if the right costume went to the right stall in order to increase your points or lower them. During the AI or machine learning periods, the other part which actually starts the program is here in the frame sprite. So it's a get spray, and then it'll start the points, it will tell you the instructions, and then broadcast this thing. While the sprite that actually lowers the time and controls the time is not the sprite, it's a background. So it'll repeat until the points equal 10, the time is greater or equal to 0. Wait 1 second, then reduce time. And if points is less than 10, then you lose. It'll start the losing sequence. And lastly, my favorite to program was the spells. Okay, so the program relies here on the border. I've made every dot that you draw a different sprite, and when you touch any of those sprites, if you touch any of those, it'll change this to it'll change it to 1. So here I change it to 1, and depending when I want to touch certain sprites or certain dots on the screen, I'll add them. So like left equals 1 and top equals 1 and so on. If I add them, it will be 2, 4, and so on. In the tip, which is the sprite you use to draw with, it analyzes your X position. I can't make it so it touches exactly the sprite since it will be too hard and too precise. I've made like a safe zone around each dot, which results that if the sprite touches anywhere around it, it'll change it to 1. And the variable called reset dots, which erases all and makes all the variables back to 0.